There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
So this is how we start. William Shakespeare and giant blue dogs.
So this is how it ends.
Pendulum.
Fourth season of the Twilight Zone. All right, let's do this before Alex falls asleep.
Dick.
Or I fall asleep. I don't know which.
Look like Ray Charles.
As long as you can look like George Washington with that prosthetic nose, that's all that matters.
George Washington had a prosthetic nose? Holy
You
shit.
didn't notice that? It was pretty noticeable.
Nose?
I didn't either. Granted, I watched the last half of this episode on my phone, so.
I watched the entire thing on my phone.
No. I watched the first part on my computer and then the second half on my phone.
You could see his bald
I watched
cap
the whole
from like 50
thing
yards.
in 1440p.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, guys, we're back. We're here to talk to Twilight Zone, the Fifth Dimension podcast, or whatever you want to call it. It's the end of the fourth season. It's officially over. The hour-long episodes are done. They're gone. They're kaput. Jacob loves this season very, very much. Well, no, I don't know about this episode, but it's safe to say that Jacob fell in love with the Twilight Zone after the fourth season. Never wants to go back to half-hour episodes ever again.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. It definitely wasn't as bad as everybody made it sound like. I thought this was just going to be the shit show of a season, and actually wasn't. It wasn't too bad. Had some pretty good ones.
Yeah. It had some pretty good ones. And wow, it ends on an interesting note. Anyways, we're back. We're talking the season finale. I'm of course here with Jacob and Triv, as well as Alex, our fourth chair, back again. A week after a pretty good episode, actually. You were right, Alex. Passage of Lady Anne. Very it wasn't as sad as the week before, but it was a very well put together, not fun, but very well.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
episode.
what episode? I was gonna say, I'm like, did we think of the same episode for last week?
What, Passage on the Lady Anne?
Mm-hmm.
Did you not like Passage on the Lady Anne?
I did not like it. I think compared to the other episodes where like mortality is a larger theme, there were other ones that stood out to me a little more than this one, but I felt like for this one, it was, pretty solid for what it was, from what I remember of it. Like it's more like in the middle for me, at least, with the season 4.
Right.
Episodes.
Well, I'm doing like this because I realized how high we ranked it. And you're gonna be like, no wonder why your list sucks. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was well put together compared to an episode we'll be talking about. But how's everyone doing? I know everyone. It's late. Everybody's here against their own free will because I pointed a gun, or I made them like get their own black magic book and say it's whatever 60 slang.
Yeah.
The old book of dark magic
out of this world. Beatnik. We're all beatniks in this episode.
Yeah, baby.
Get with the times, man.
So yeah, everybody
We're
good.
gonna do some. What's that poetry? Beatnik poetry where they're like,
You want to do
Susan!
the
What kind of a
"You
talking
left
rap?
me at the park." Like from
This would have been
Saw Married an
improved had
Ex-Murderer.
it had that.
do we have to give you a big cup of coffee though first?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Wow. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Guys, can I tell you the story about the zombie flick that I wrote? You see, there's this lady and she married this guy and they're married forever and she doesn't realize that he's dead.
Stay on target.
I feel like somebody took that idea from the show and made a movie years later.
More than likely, yeah. That and every other one of them.
My boyfriend is back.
You better be careful. What was it? My boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble.
Hey, no. What the hell is this even talk?
I don't know, Trip. You started with zombie marriage.
Because they talk about it in this episode.
Oh, I must
There's
have forgot
also a
about
story
that.
of a
I was
millionaire
bored.
becoming a multi-millionaire in an hour show that was
No,
laughed
a
out of the office.
multi-millionaire becoming a millionaire. Which I think you're right, because when they first mentioned it, they said it the other way around. But then when they explained the concept later on, they did say it as someone who was a multi-millionaire, and then they lost it and went back to just being a millionaire and how could they live?
Got
Yeah,
it. That is a hard
I think you're
question.
right.
You know who I'd want to be? The Bard.
He would be the one to be.
If
Although
I
I'm
could
not sure
be
you'd
a
look good in a bald
millionaire
cap.
So fucking bad.
Well, if it was D&D
Yeah,
and I
that's
was
true.
able to make the character,
Yeah.
I would keep my hair.
Yeah.
But
How would
teach
Nick
their
look in a
own.
bald cap?
I should have shaved, but it probably worked.
Oh my god.
You know what we won't have this week is as awesome a joke as "Come On, Eileen."
Man, that song came on in the car the other day.
What?
It's on one of my playlists. Apparently, it came on. And I just started laughing.
Anyways, let's talk about this episode. Unfortunately, the season finale of the Twilight Zone season 4 is here. It, of course, is season 4, episode 18, which is called The Bard, directed by David Butler, written by Rod Serling, production code 4852, air date May 23rd, 1963, 2 days before we were recording, or 2 days after we're recording. Yeah, we're recording on the 21st, so 2 days after we're recording. Stars Jack Weston, John Williams, Henry Lascoe, John McGiver, Howard McNear, Judy Strangis, Jack Weston's wife at the time, Marge Redmond, and of course Burt Reynolds as apparently Marlon Brando.
Well, Marlon
And-
Brando analog.
Well, yeah, we'll just say he's Marlon Brando. He's called like Taco McDonaldson or something like that, isn't he?
Rocky
McDonald's.
Roads.
What the hell?
Taco McDonaldson. I like that one though.
That's like
Yeah.
Bodie McBoatface.
Buddy McBoatface.
Oh my
Taco
God.
McDonald.
It was so weird when they were like pulling out things that Brando has actually been in, like A Streetcar Named Desire and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Oh, the young girl even says, "Hey, why don't you go get a job like working on a streetcar?" Like, oh God.
Well, he even said they said he was great in a streetcar. Was it Streetcar Named Desire? Is that what the one they?
Streetcar Named Desire, and then he also later
He
mentions
said
that he was in
Cat on
a
the Hot
cat.
Tin Roof. Yeah.
Yeah,
He looked. I mean,
Why,
he looked. The
why
part,
they just
man.
call him Marlon Brando and be done with it?
because they couldn't.
He's a
It would have
parody.
been
It even
it-
says this episode features a parody of Marlon Brando by Burt Reynolds, and concerns an inept screenwriter. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I love Rod Serling, but his comedy is not always the best, to be fairly honest. Okay, so The Bard is an episode. It's
Is
one
it?
that
Yes. It is.
yeah,
We're done,
yeah,
guys.
it's definitely an episode. It's I was not prepared to be visibly angry while watching a Twilight Zone episode, which I've been annoyed by Twilight Zone episodes, and I've shown my annoyance in our podcast recordings. But I don't think I've ever been as baffled as I am with the tone, with the amount of annoyance that a character can give me. I mean, I thought Horace Ford was annoying, but I understand where this episode is going, and I apologize. I will let you guys speak. I understand where this episode is going. I understand that it is a take on Rod Serling's annoyances with the
Major
ad
advertisers.
marketing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
producers and ad marketing stuff, which is very apparent. Like it's been talked about many times that he was very much dissuaded after these seasons about TV in general. I got to a point about 15 minutes into this episode where I'm going, this might be one of the worst episodes of television I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't take that lightly, especially with the Twilight Zone. And I'm trying to be fair because I know, Alex, you have a little more optimism with this episode. I think you talked about it before, and I'm not going to, I'm not trying to be yelling and screaming because that is counterintuitive, but
Alice is a ghost. She isn't here at the moment. She'll be back in like 30 minutes.
no. In all honesty, like I
Sing
get
down a
why
little
people would.
more.
Well, no, but I get why people would like this episode, but it just every inch of my being was just like I almost wanted to. I knew I couldn't, but I wanted to turn this off because I'm like I can't see the Twilight Zone in this light, and it makes me visibly sad that we got an episode like this. But
You didn't feel it in your cockles?
yes, I definitely didn't feel it there. I didn't feel it anywhere.
Oh my
I think
God.
I
Did it
was.
make you want to cross against traffic?
Sure. You know that scene where
Yeah, red light.
Freddy's like puppeteering the little kid across traffic? I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Twilight Zone was doing that to me.
Oof.
You said it's like
Um,
the worst TV in history. I mean, come on, man. You and I sat down and watched the Resident Evil show.
At least I
You
enjoyed
didn't
that
even
for what
finish
it's
it
worth.
because it was so bad.
Well, that's because I was lazy.
Ooh.
That's because to be fair,
Because it
Jacob,
was bad.
I didn't get the screener for the second half, so sometimes I tend to not watch that stuff if I don't get the screener because sometimes I don't have time because it's just the way I live. But
Him and his
um,
exclusive screenings, you guys.
yeah, I'm
What's
special.
that like, huh?
You don't want to know. No, okay, so
He had to
that's where
sell his soul.
I said it's
I
one of the
see.
worst things I've
Burgess
ever
Meredith.
seen, but where do you guys stand on this episode? Alex, I'll go to you first because I know
Oh my
once again
God,
I'm not
why?
putting no. I'm not trying to. This is why I said I apologize to you for the when we
No, it's
record because
okay. We have
but what
opinions.
did
It's cool.
yeah, no, I know. We all some of us like the was it the invaders or perchance to dream.
Oh,
And
how dare
some
you
of
say
us,
those
some
two
of us.
episodes in the same breath?
No, I mean, anyways, Alex, have at it. I talked for a little while, so
Well, okay. So like Julius Moomer as a leading protagonist, right? He's not great. He's
oh, by the
not
way, I love Jack
the best.
Weston as well. Jack Weston's like one of those great 70s, 80s actors. Short Circuit 2. Thank you very much. Anyways, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know, as a leading protagonist in comparison to what we have gotten up to this point. He's in that category for sure of like ones that are a little annoying, sometimes very persistent in their annoyance. I don't know what it is, but I feel like Julius is just a little more tolerable only because of what the episode touches upon is like when it comes to discussing sort of things that like even Serling, like when you learn about the behind the scenes that, you know, he's been quoted about surrounding like the behind the scenes of the Twilight Zone and how there has been struggles with networks, sponsors, getting approval for certain storylines versus, you know, creating ultimately like passion projects with each installment and like trying to have creative integrity, but also trying to comply to these sort of standards at the same time. And I feel like taking it in a comedic approach was a really interesting route. And I personally thought it was really cool to see that kind of commentary in an older television series, at least for me personally, because it just hasn't been something that I've sort of been aware of before from other shows. I'm sure there are other shows that came out around this time too that have sort of commentated on it in some regard or like had some satirical approach to like addressing it, I would say. I mean, there's satirical films all the fucking time that do the same thing. But, you know, I liked that aspect of it. I also felt like Julius was just a little more tolerable because of the supporting cast. Personally, like I think in my personal opinion, I think all the supporting cast has a lot of fun moments and banter that really adds on to the episode in a way where I wasn't as sort of, oh, I don't really enjoy watching this, like with Horrors Forward, for example. But in a way, I also felt like Julius's arc was endearing even with him being annoying. But that's just my opinion, and we'll get to more later. It's, you know, it's cool. It's cool.
Yes, I appreciate that. I mean, no.
Yes.
No, what I was gonna say, I
I'm
appreciate
so
the
glad
candor.
I'm so glad you're listening, Nick. Thank you so much.
I was listening. I understand what you're saying. Like, I appreciate the candor of like
I was kidding,
not
by the
having
way.
the
Just
character.
because you're looking away, I was like,
No, I'm listening. My
Oh.
cat's like looking at me, so I'm just like keeping him
Oh.
company while I'm listening to you.
Aw.
But no, like I understand like your appreciation for the fact that like his character is less annoying you feel than like a bunch of some other characters like I don't know Horace Ford or the guy from 4 o'clock. But I think the main problem that I have with his character is not the idea of like him wanting to succeed in a world that is completely just like shit that is the television world. It's
Oh
the
no,
fact
he's
that
like not talented for
well,
sure.
no, I know he's not talented, but it's just the nature of like even the simple fact of the dialogue that Rod Serling is using for him. It makes him feel like the biggest cliche of 60s beatnik television characters. And it's just like, at some point, I stopped even like remotely being interested in him because of the simple fact that it just became annoying. And then like the way they use him at the end is like this like really terrible individual who basically is still able to conjure. I don't know. It was
The way I saw it was that I felt that the comedic, almost satirical approach towards how the industry is was a creative choice. So
yeah,
I felt
no
like
doubt.
I felt like
Yeah.
so much more. I feel like a lot of what was sort of brought into the episode was more intentional versus like if you have a character like Horace Ford and he's surrounded by people who are pretty reasonable and rational as we discussed versus him just being like, you know, arguably just very not, I don't know, not likable in any
Right.
kind of redeemable or qualifying way. But I felt like at least comparatively, that's kind of where I was, I guess, coming from. But I do feel like, I mean, even down to like, I was going to mention this too later, but I feel like even with down to the sound design and sort of the writing within the episode too, I think, you know, I thought was pretty good for what it was.
Yeah.
And I think really stood out to me personally compared to some other productions where they kind of, you know, they can tend to reuse the same instrumentals or, you know, sometimes
Right.
the writing, you kind of understand where the episode is going. You're like, oh, it's kind of like this episode, but just has a
Right.
bit of a twist there. So I feel like it had that going for it. Um, what did you guys think?
Thank you.
Trying to
Thank you for the segue.
I was like, it's
Oh
okay.
no, you're good. You're good. I was kind of middle of the road on this. I feel like I fall that way a lot. The one thing that I'll say, and I appreciated like as you go along, you can almost hear Rod Serling talking about like those like the various advertisers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the satire is pretty clear. And especially when we first started watching all of these episodes, there was a longer piece on YouTube that was like a presentation to like product placement, basically. Like they kind of talk through the notions of the first 3 episodes, and then this would be a great opportunity for you. Here's our first episode. They go into it. It's really quite interesting to see where it was and where it went. It took them so long to get to that part. Like this, it took almost 20 minutes to be able to get to the part where they're like talking about the product placement. It almost felt afterthought to me, honestly. For as heavy as it was talked about in the second half, and maybe it just went over my head because I was focusing on other things, but the focus was on this big bombastic guy, and then eventually you kind of get to all this other stuff. And again, maybe, I don't know, the combination of satire towards product placement and Julius
Well,
Moomer as a character didn't work for me.
I think you can use satire. I think that's perfectly all right, especially in the
Oh no, I'm
entertainment
not saying
industry.
that. But it
No,
just
no, no,
felt
I know.
like it
I'm just
was an
saying.
afterthought.
Well, yeah. Like I said, you can use it in entertainment because entertainment is a fucking disaster when it comes to how it uses people and stuff like that. Just think that it went too far on that simple fact of satire. Just the product placement. I understand what he's doing, but I think there is a level where I think it attempted to do it in a very much a quick, very much uncomfortable fashion and just end up stepping over its own feet in the process.
And I don't know, for me, I know what they were trying to do with Julius Boomer, but I don't know, like there was nothing. You still kind of have to root for your protagonist.
Oh my
And
god, I couldn't root for him. Sorry.
I sort of agree with Pace Magazine in this respect. They say this is one of those rare episodes where okay, sorry. The Twilight Zone is known for putting toxic characters in their place through ironic cosmic justice. This is a rare instance where a person who is not only presented as charming but also gets rewarded for dubious or duplicitous behavior. I don't think that he's as toxic as I think Paste is making him out to be, but it is an interesting instance where he's able to succeed instead of fail, with this kind of thing. But I do think he also learns because he talks about his writing staff, as being like this whole list of historic characters. So he did learn.
I almost feel like that he wrote the story as kind of a fuck you to to Paramount CBS, because he says Paramount. I think they say Paramount. The company that they work for, I think, is Paramount. But I think he almost wrote this as a shit episode to me personally, maybe as a fuck you to Paramount. Because here's your season finale for screwing us over on the making us go an hour long. Which I don't know if he's that petty, but it almost feels like he's like, you know what, you guys made us do 18 episodes of 4 seasons. Maybe this is like a big fu to the season. I don't know, Jacob.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this episode was that bad. It's not great, but it's fine. Like, it started to lull a little bit in the middle, just a bit. I wanted it to move along. I think this is a case of one of the ones that could have definitely been 30 minutes or 24 minutes. The main character, like the first half of it, he is kind of he really teeters on enduring and grating at the same time. Like, you want to like him because he's the main character, and it kind of has like a lighter tone to the things he's doing and saying. You want to root for him, but in the beginning, he's a little bit more difficult to root for, I think. As it goes along, I warmed up to him a little bit better. He wasn't as grating, but I'd never say that he's like my favorite character. Obviously, this takes a lot of stabs at product placement and how they adjust their stories, regardless if it makes any sense in the story to product placement, like with the whole thing with the onion and the turnip. I don't know. I mean, I don't really think that deep into it, really. I saw that. I don't, like, to Nick's point that maybe Serling screwed this one up on purpose to kind of like as an FU to the studio. I mean, maybe, and I don't know how it was viewed back then, but I know that in my entire life, Twilight Zone has always been viewed as Rod Serling. Like, anything that's on Twilight Zone, we look at Rod Serling. We're like, oh, that was great, Rod, or that sucked, Rod, not Paramount. So I feel like if it was viewed that way then, which I don't know, maybe it was viewed differently back then, he'd kind of be screwing himself, because like it is his baby and he was the face of it, regardless of what studio is making it.
Yeah, but I get that, but you can see when he goes and talks on talk shows or just his story in general, he got to a point where he was so pissed off with the studio, the head of the studio at the time, which I can't remember his name. I think we talked about before.
They
Literally
canceled the show.
can't. Yeah, they canceled it in the 5th season. They're like, I don't know if they did it like halfway through the season or at the beginning of the season. I don't know if you know Alex offhand or not, but you could just tell that he was done. Like, he has a obligation, but I've seen creatives before screw over their show because they are pissed off. They'll write episodes that are just like, haphazardly put together, and it just feels like this is an episode where he is either fucking with Paramount or CBS. I guess you should say CBS. I don't know if Paramount owned CBS at the time. He just didn't know what he wanted out of this episode. I mean, I don't know. I know I'm talking a lot and I apologize, but I know it just feels like such a half-winded, half-hearted attempt to do a comedy that isn't really funny. Doesn't really, it tries too hard. And I'm sorry. It's like it was so baffling to I don't know. It was so baffling.
In that, he may have just been really angry and wrote it. And when he wrote it, I don't think I mean, I have no idea, but I don't think he would have necessarily set out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either. So
write something bad, but I think maybe I could see maybe in his frustration with the studio system and all that, and in writing it into this and kind of satirizing that, maybe he got too caught up in the satirization and his frustrations came out too much, and it became more about lampooning the studio system and that whole situation than actually telling a good story and an entertaining story. So that may be part of it. Because while I don't think this one was nearly as bad as I think that I feel that you thought it was. I feel like
Jacob, I'll just say right now, I said this before, but this is probably the worst episode of the series for me.
Like,
Oh,
I
see,
mean,
I'm-
I'm sure we're gonna get to like black leather jackets and stuff like that, and that'll be pretty bad. But I mean, this is as low rent as it gets when it comes to the Twilight Zone. This is,
Well, I wouldn't go there, but I mean, to each his
I
own.
mean,
But
yeah, right,
I
right.
just,
Yeah.
I think I do see that there are some shortcomings in the episode for sure. I definitely think it could have been done in 24 minutes and they could have gotten the same sentiment across. I don't think it really added anything having the extra fluff because it did come across as fluff. And I mean, in that being said, it wasn't like awful. I mean, I was never just like, oh my God, come on. Now I did watch this in 2 sittings, so
Yeah.
sometimes that makes a difference when you have that break. I had to stop watching and watch the second half later on. And sometimes that makes it more bearable. But I didn't get that feeling, but who knows? But yeah, there was a lot of fluff in it. I really liked the part with Burt Reynolds. And that was mainly just because he was doing such a good Marlon Brando impression. Like, so to the point to where I was like, is that Marlon Brando? But no, it was Burt. I was like, it's not. But man, that person looks just like him. I didn't realize it was Burt Reynolds until I looked it up, and I was like, holy shit, that is Burt Reynolds. So
He
I
was a
thought it
good looking
pretty
guy
cool.
back in the day. He still
Yeah,
looks
and I mean,
good
and when
now.
I saw him, I was like, oh yeah. I mean, because I'd seen Burt Reynolds at that age and things before, but I just, that's not my, my, what do they call it? My mind, whatever. That's not how I view Burt Reynolds in my mind. More
He
of
didn't
a
have a
You-
mustache.
mustache and Smokey and the Bandit kind of esque Burt Reynolds. But
you mean he wasn't Jack Horner. He didn't have like the white beard and
yeah, I mean, so I didn't recognize him offhand. Um, I, the I think the biggest issue I had with this episode is it didn't know what it was trying to do, what it wanted to do. I Once again, I didn't hate it, but I see issues. It's like 1 minute it wanted to be this thing where it was kind of hokey black magic and it's about ghostwriters and someone taking advantage of another person's talent to get ahead. And then it's about the studio system and advertising and people changing your art form to make a buck. And then I don't know. And I guess he learned a lesson, but the lesson he learned was, don't take advantage of someone else's talent because in the end he comes in and introduces all the people as his team. So I don't know. It just seemed it did seem a bit scatterbrained. And by the end, I was kind of like, what was really the point? What
Well,
was
the episode that Shakespeare, I guess, Ghost wrote right within the episode was called The Tragic Cycle. And so my thought process when I was rewatching it,
point,
but
yeah.
also when I initially
yeah.
watched it was that, he went through this initial cycle with Shakespeare to pretty much get his foot in the door within the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I
And then
didn't
there's
think
sort
of
of
that.
this tragic cycle, supposedly where he continues to use black magic and doesn't learn his lesson.
Yeah, so I
And
guess he did.
subsequently, like, brings in these other historical figures to pretty much do the work for him.
Yeah, he didn't learn
essentially.
that lesson. He just learned the lesson of don't take advantage of people, I guess. But he'll still.
I would say, like, he probably didn't even learn the lesson at all. Like, it's one of those episodes where it's like the character isn't necessarily redeemable in any sort of way or has a
Yeah.
sort of redemption arc. It's just more of, oh, he's in this industry with all these other
Yeah, and at
not so
that
great
point, what's the
individuals. So
point?
it's like,
That's why
but
I
they
do
have probably
think.
they probably had their own insidious reasons,
Yeah,
potentially or hypothetically.
and that is why I think that maybe while writing this, Serling and Nick may be onto something about him being so frustrated with the system and TV and the studios and all that.
Mhm.
It became more of a platform for him to poke fun at them. And that's fine. He's done that and they've had episodes that did things like that before and it worked. But that was a side note. That wasn't the focus of the episode. The episode had whatever was going on there, and then they'd take little jabs. And that works. And other mediums have done that and it works. But when you make that your focus, but you don't, I don't know, it's like not you don't make it. I don't think he made it its focus. I think it became the focus while he was writing. I don't think he ever had it as this is going to be the focus. I'm going to talk shit about the studio. No, I have this other story I'm going to tell. But it's kind of like he just got more focused on making fun of the studio and that whole situation there, but never really accepted the fact that that's what he had written.
Well, on top of all that, I promise, Alex, we will get to the OVA narration. I promise. You're like, when's this happening?
I had an answer to your question about the cancellation, by the way, but I'll say it after.
Yeah. Actually, go ahead.
I was looking forward to Alex's transition to that opening narration at some point.
Oh God. So in Mark Scott Zicree's book, he kind of goes on towards kind of the end of the book. If you read it, there's more of a foreword. So it talks about sort of the legacy of the Twilight Zone, along with kind of like, I guess, the aftermath, so to say. But it does say that it was announced that around in the end of January of 1964, CBS announced its fall schedule, and Twilight Zone essentially wasn't included. And the president of CBS at the time seemed to be, I guess, sick of the show and claimed that they were going over budget and the ratings weren't warranting them to continue to go over budget. They sourced the Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, which is the episode that they had.
Yeah, which is a
That's-
good episode.
Yeah,
You talked about
it's a
that.
very
yeah.
unique episode because, and I think I hinted at this with my last appearance as being like what I consider like one of the best Twilight Zone episodes, in my personal opinion. It essentially was, I guess the best way for me to put it would be like it was imported from overseas. Like it wasn't something that they directly filmed and produced. It was something that they purchased to then kind of release through the Twilight Zone.
Which one was this?
This was, it's based on, the Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge is based on a short story, but it's about this man who's about to get executed, pretty much with a noose over the Owl Creek Bridge.
Is it
So that's
Twilight
kind of
Zone
the
episode?
occurrence. Mm-hmm. In
Really?
Have
season
we not
5.
seen this one yet? Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay. It hadn't
okay,
happened yet.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
remember
like
that episode.
it's like in the middle of season 5.
Yeah.
But basically he has like this sort of part of like, I won't like spoil the twist or anything, but there's this sort of through line of like him either surviving or either not surviving. And so you kind of see both outcomes, and then both of either one of those ends up being like kind of the ultimate sort of like
Yeah.
resolution for the episode.
Ironically, the Occurrence of Owl Creek Bridge is the one Twilight Zone episode I watched in high school. I don't know why they
Mhm.
showed it. I can't remember, but it was always
It's because of the
wanted-
short story that's attached to it.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
'cause
Because
when
it
I
won an
was in,
Academy Award.
Yeah. When I was at USC, like that's how I was more formally introduced to the Twilight Zone, because like in one
Yeah.
of my courses, we like read the short story, and then I was like, oh yeah, the Twilight Zone adapted it into an episode.
Right.
So,
It's a quite a remarkable episode, but where was I? Can't remember what I was gonna say. We're talking about, forgive me for forgetting what I was gonna say. Oh no, the other big major problem with this episode is they just use William Shakespeare as a punching bag, like a joke. Like he comes in like this guy comes in, he's like, I'm here to do what you need to become a very successful TV writer. And he talks about, what's her name? Ingrid Bergman. And the William Shakespeare goes, who? He does a lot of like those weird kind of comedic tone nonsense, like, pow, like Abbott Costello. It's what it feels. Actually, the William Shakespeare in this feels like he should be in an Abbott Costello sketch or an episode. It feels like that's where they place him. And I as much as I enjoy like taking pop shots at famous celebrities and famous people in history, I almost feel like he's in the wrong series, and it doesn't make any sense. And
Nick, the episode warmed cockles. They said it warmed my cockles.
Yes, but
Twice. There are two
Uh.
sets of cockles warmed in this episode.
Hey.
How can you think it's that bad?
is that said in the opening narration, Jacob?
Haha.
and
You know what I would
how
have
the
appreciated more,
the
Alex? You
okay
can do better. You could have been like, you want to know
Okay,
what
for-
warms my cockles?
for somebody who is a
I'm not gonna
huge
say
work-
that word.
The-
There's
What?
no chance. Unless you
Why?
pay me.
Cockle.
It is not
That's funny.
a vulgar term. You have
And
a
I
dirty
get
mind.
monetized, so it'd be a win-win.
Yeah, there you go. Also,
You
by
know
the
what? This
way-
is like a black and tan at an Irish picnic.
Yeah, right.
That
What's
warms
that
my
even mean?
cockles.
This
Your
episode's
cockles
full
are
of-
always warmed, man.
Yeah, they
That's
are.
why you've got 7 kids.
Yep.
Jacob, stop talking about your
You have
cockles.
7 kids.
I do have 7 kids. That's some
Holy
warm cockles.
shit.
So how he has cockles still left, I don't know.
If you had
and
one
plus-
more, you'd have a TLC show.
There you go.
right?
Right?
What do you need, like 12 of those?
Hey, I'm still young.
Hey, by
No,
the
the
way,
other
my
the other
wife's
number
still
was
young.
19.
19.
19 or 20.
By the way,
Counting.
Jacob, there was a episode of The Simpsons where Apu had
Oh God.
he had 8 kids and he lost a TV ship deal because the person next door had 9 kids. It's pretty funny.
Well,
So he
that's an
sold his
easy
kids to a
fix.
That
zoo.
is pretty funny.
It's a real easy fix.
Not when his wife's like, I'm having no more kids because we're tired. Anyways,
Alcohol. It's an
how
easy
did
fix.
the real question of the day is how this episode kept your attention when clearly the bookstore attendant was more worried about the Mets and Gail Hodges than actually selling books to people.
Yeah, that was such a weird little bit. I was confused.
That's what
Yeah,
this show
I was too,
this
and I'm a
episode's
sports
full
fan.
of. Lots of weird little interactions like that.
Yeah.
They're
They're
out
all
of
kind of
kinda nowhere.
eccentric.
Well, and I
Mhm.
don't know that like they talked about how big the cast was for this. Like as far as like bringing in a lot of big names, it was Adoro something or another was the lady in the bookshop, and obviously you had Burt Reynolds and you had a few others. The whole thing was I don't know, it's discombobulating to me.
Discombobulated indeed.
It's the opening.
Oh, yeah, I
of,
forgot
like,
Jack Weston.
Discombobulated my cockles.
Yes,
I don't
please
even know if
warm
that's
us
the
with
word,
your
but-
prologue cockles.
Let me warn
I forgot
you.
Jack Weston was in my favorite Twilight Zone episode.
Which one was that?
Monsters Who Do on Maple Street.
I thought it was gonna be the Invaders.
He's the one that wore the Hawaiian shirt. It was great.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that was Jack Weston.
Yeah. All right, they're pulling my arm. They want the opening narration, Jacob. Give them the cockles in the narration.
Hold
You're
that
the
on.
one hosting. We can go
Nope.
an hour talking about the episode without the narrations. if
Well,
we
it's
Well,
not
want
it's
in
not
here.
it's not my show anymore. It's your show, Alex. I'm giving it to you. This is
Take
my
it
last
over.
episode. The barge has
Oh
broken me.
shush!
Oh no.
You need your
Anyway.
cockles warmed by
This
Rod
is
Serling.
a Willy Wonka scenario where I'm training someone to take over for me.
Okay,
And
but
you,
we didn't
Alex.
have this conversation.
I said good
on
day,
camera.
No, in all seriousness, go ahead, Jacob. His
All
opening
right.
narration.
From the depths of my cockles. You've just witnessed opportunity. If not knocking, at least scratching plaintively on a closed door. Mr. Julius Moomer, a would-be writer who, if talent came 25 cents a pound, would be worth less than a car fare. But in a moment, Mr. Moomer, through the offices of some black magic, is about to embark on a brand new career. And although he may never get a writing credit on The Twilight Zone, he's to become an integral character in it.
Well,
in
there
the
you
Twilight Zone. I feel really weird when they don't end with "in the Twilight Zone."
It's like in bed.
Like, I'm not done. I gotta keep going.
Nick had to go feed his cockles. I mean his pussy. I mean his cat.
Did you hear my cow noise?
Pussy cockles.
Yes.
I didn't. I thought it just stayed at one moo, but then I kept going, and I was like, "All right, that's enough."
So cockles.
Cockles. I was about to say cockles too.
So, like, what is the definition, though?
The
of-
cock.
cockle?
Basically, if
I
you
don't
talk
know.
about warming the cockles of your heart, that's like the deep down points of your heart. It's like the
the bottom
embers.
of my heart.
Yeah. Like let me see. Let me look up the actual. It's actually a part of your heart. It's a ventricle that sits at the bottom of your heart. But in terms of like from the cockles of my heart is one's innermost feelings.
See,
Wow.
There's-
Alex.
Stop
you got a dirty
deflating
mind.
Jacob's
It's from
cockles.
the ventricles of the heart.
Yeah, it's one of the deeper like it's let's see here. Let's see, the cockles of your heart refer to the cockle like ventricles of the heart.
What is
But
a
the
cockle? What's
cockles-
cockle like?
It looks like a
My God,
Cockle.
dude.
It looks like a cockle. Just my heart's full of cockles. Cockle like.
Oh, something.
A lot of
Um,
nerves.
So black magic is what this episode did to me. Full of voodoo. Voodoo that you do. I don't know. I want to so badly be like optimistic about this damn cat just clawing on me. God damn it.
So, what is the
Aw.
plot? What is
So-
the
so
plot of
guys-
this
Plot
lovely episode?
Is
So-
Jack
so-
Weston. Jack Weston is trying to steal diamonds from a vault and he's tunneling under a place in Manhattan, and along the way a racist character stereotype and what's his name guy from This Is Spinal Tap, and they get a big giant robot to help them dig underneath the city to get the diamonds.
So plot.
I mean, the plot is Julius K. Moomer is a failed writer. He's trying to everything in his power to get the story that will make him millions of dollars. It's not going very well, is it, people? Because his I'm guessing it's like his agent or his manager, or who's very like managers or agents are never this calm and collective when they listen to crackpots try to tell stories. Usually they're Harvey Weinstein, or they're people that are having heart attacks, getting ready to die of heart failure, stressed out. But this guy with his mustache, I don't remember what his name is, like Hugo or something like that.
And his
Yeah.
couple.
Mr. Hugo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's just like, you're not, no. He's like, I'll do anything. He's like, all right, we're looking for a script for Black Magic. Yeah.
I would like to point out, they said they were looking for a script centering around black magic, and he used black magic to write the script, but the script, from what I could tell, the story had nothing to do with black magic, but they still went ahead with it.
I think they were
Hey, but
using
that-
that for something else. Like because at one point he says, "Oh, well, this is too good to use for a half an hour pilot. Let's try it for something else." I
But
think.
why
I
is
thought
it like
it was that the story that was approved and that was already carrying forward without Moomer in it was about black magic or something
Oh,
like that.
maybe it was.
But
I
why
thought it was
get
something along those lines.
right? No, I'm like, why get William Shakespeare though? William Shakespeare.
It was an accident.
Yeah.
Because he was sitting there and he did the
So he was
thing,
doing his
I guess
Baba
he didn't sit in there,
booming,
yeah.
right? Sorry,
Oh.
I was thinking about Nicki Minaj when I said
Baba Voodoo.
It's-
Baba boom.
Baba Voom.
And then
The
he
Dal
was like,
Sassoon.
and then he said something that was like, "Who do they think I am, Shakespeare?" Or something regarding like writing, because he was in front of his typewriter, being like, "Well, shit, I guess I'll have to do it myself by Monday, haha." And then he said that, and then it was like, poof.
I thought he was repeating Kalima. Wasn't he saying Kalima at some point?
That would
I
have been
don't
funny if he
know.
had.
Like Indiana Jones and the
I
Temple
mean,
of Doom.
he was trying it in the bus station.
Kalima.
It was sand and everything. I mean, that man probably was trying to read the whole book and just be like, okay, if I just say Alakazam, maybe something can happen. Maybe
mean,
this
the
book will
book
give me a
just-
favor.
I like how this woman is so invested in the Mets that she forgets that she has a book on black magic. She's like, oh, I've never seen
She
this
said,
book
Me and
before.
this book have never been introduced.
Yeah, this book that just pops out of nowhere. This is like the book in the fucking Still Valley where it's just like,
Book of Witchcraft.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
No, the
like,
book
but
was
it
just
doesn't
called
really do any.
Witchcraft.
I think this book was called Black Magic. It's just like
Called
way to be
Ye
literal.
Book of
Ye black magic.
Dark Magic or something like. It didn't say black magic. It said like dark magic. But
Yeah.
it was
Black
Ye Olde
arts. I
Book.
think it was black arts.
Black arts. Yeah,
Mhm.
Ye Olde Book of Black Arts.
And on top of everything, like you have this like little girl that comes in, has really nothing to do with the plot whatsoever.
That's called
Like-
Fluff. Her name
She's
is
called
Fluff.
precocious.
Fluff. Mom, he's doing it again.
Honestly, she was kind of a mood. She was like, well, why are you doing this though? Like, he's not stupid. He's like,
Why
I'm
don't you
gonna
get
tell my
yourself-
mom, his own neighbor,
I just
neighbor
expect
landlord or somebody.
I expected her to do the whole like New York thing. Like, why don't you go get a safe job as a trolley driver?
I think that's what she said towards the end. She was
Yeah,
I don't know
like,
if
she
she's
did.
from
she was like,
Boston.
just give
Trolley
up being a
driver.
writer. She's
Yeah.
like,
Sound like
just
you're
give it
Australian.
up. Be a streetcar.
Go get
Get
a
on your
job as a
dreams,
trolley
honey.
driver.
Yeah. My
Snap in
Boston
the
accent
biz.
sucks.
Yes, she says something about getting a job on a streetcar. I'm like, Stella.
Job
Stella.
on a streetcar named Desire.
Nice.
Man, they did that streetcar named
yeah.
Desire so well in The Simpsons. It was great. Um but no, but like
Treehouse of Horror.
no, actually it's streetcar named Marge, actually. Come on, get it
There you
correct.
go.
Get your Star
A
Wars.
streetcar
Star
named
Wars.
Marge.
A streetcar named Marge.
A streetcar
Hey,
named
Marge, get over here, Marge. Get over here talking about you right now, Marge. Tell him large Marge sent you.
Gotta
You
get the
fucking
car
woolly.
down to the yard.
The car's in the yard.
But I like how William Shakespeare is just
But
so
anyway.
topsy turvy. Not topsy turvy. He's just like so back and forth about. He's like, oh, I hate you. Oh, I guess I'll stay and watch you. Oh, I hate you. I'll give up. He walks out at the end of the episode, but
Did he go
I
back
don't
to
know.
well wherever like death? Or
It sounds
did
like
just
he
take
sounds
off?
like he knew he's being transported from where he's from, like his time. He's like, oh, I guess the black magic book's back. I guess they're gonna need me again. Maybe he's like the thing that comes out of the book every time someone conjures it.
I feel like he just left. He didn't go back. He's like living in Nebraska or something.
Mhm. Bless you.
Thank you.
No, I said
Yeah, you see him in like
Nebraska.
you see in like a local stage play of like West Side Story or something with them
Yeah,
chicken
there
leg with them chicken legs.
You know, it's crazy. He actually went on to be Michael Bay.
The
What?
a William Shakespeare
No,
or
I just was trying to
Nebraska
be
connection
like,
to
you
Michael
know,
Bay?
like that he would become the thing that he's not because he
Ah, yeah,
integrated into
yeah.
modern days.
Absolutely. I got that
No, he
joke.
was trying to be
He did
Zack
not go over
Snyder
me.
with his premises, I think.
Oh, there you go. There you go. He
Oh, we
thinks
don't
he's
say Jack.
himself art.
We don't say Zack Snyder on
Awesome.
here. That's all I need is Zack Snyder bros coming onto my channel. Why you guys hate Zack Snyder so much?
Okay, the gist
Restore
is
the Snyderverse.
okay, but
don't
the
hate
long
Zack
ass
Snyder.
Zack Snyder cut was really good though, even though it was 5 hours.
Yeah,
It was. See?
I'd agree.
It
Ha.
was. I
Bam.
agree.
It's
I
5
haven't
hours
seen
of
what is it called, Rebel Moon, the 2-part thing.
Yeah, you know, you don't have to.
You know, I'm sure it's good. You know,
Just go with
I'm
that.
sure it's
Just
great,
go with
guys.
that.
Yeah, we're saying.
I mean, Sucker Punch was a movie too.
It was a series
was
of
Rebel Moon a
pictures
movie or was it an
committed to
experiment of
film. Yeah.
nonsense? Yeah, it was.
No,
It was
honestly,
put
Rebel
on
Moon 2 is
celluloid.
better than
and-
1, but yeah. Let's just hope that director's cut is better. Let's say that. It's coming in August or something.
You know, every time they announce a high budget movie from a director that I'm not a big fan of, I usually don't watch it.
That's a good.
Like I have not
rule
watched
of
Rebel
thumb.
Moon. I know, right?
He
It's
has
like
good movies and he has bad movies.
Well, yeah, everybody has good and bad movies. I mean, we have good and
What?
bad movies. I have several bad movies on my shelf.
We have lots.
I have a collection of nothing in my shelf. Just a
I like that.
washer and dryer in front of me.
Zach's alright. He's alright with me. We cool.
Anyways,
He good people.
so Shakespeare, I'm gonna be fairly honest with you guys. I was so angry with this episode, I started losing real interest. And kind of what happens, I know Shakespeare and they end up writing a story that 18 producers and creative execs find interesting, but they
Solid.
hold a what is that, audition session, I guess,
They're
rehearsal?
doing like a cold
Like a
read. Or what is
table
it?
read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
table read.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Minus
they've already
any of the
picked
other
their
actors.
Marlon Brando knockoff, Taka Mitakeson, and
Rocky Roads.
My name is Rocket Rose. I think this was before that, so if he had done that, that would have been the foresight.
I wonder if Burt Reynolds was alive, would he even want to talk about this episode? I wonder if he's even embarrassed to talk about it. I'm kind of curious, because Burt Reynolds is a huge actor. He did what was it?
He was a boyfriend on Friends.
Mhm.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, he was
Smokey the
Courtney
Bandit.
Cox's. Yeah.
In the name of the
No,
king.
no. That's Magnum P. Ice. It was
Oh,
not
Tom
Burt Reynolds.
Selleck. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Tell
Come
us
on.
about Selleck. He was in
Eh,
an
Tom
Uwe Boll
Selleck, Burt
movie.
Reynolds. They both have mustaches.
He was the king in an Uwe Boll movie.
Oh God,
Was
not
he?
surprised.
Oh, I thought that was
In the Name of
Jeremy
the King.
Irons.
No, that's the D&D movie, which is I could see you thinking that was an Uwe Boll movie, but no. He
No,
was the king
Jeremy
in the
Irons
name.
was Jeremy Irons was in a Uwe Boll movie. He was
Which
in
one?
Blood Rain or some shit.
No, that's Ben Kingsley, which is even crazier.
Get ready,
Ben Kingsley
Alex.
was the main
These
villain.
guys are gonna be talking Uwe Boll for the next 15
Are we sure?
minutes.
Uwe.
Burt Reynolds was in Grand Theft Auto game. I know
Uwe
that
Boll
much.
is a kind of like a Tommy Wiseau type director.
He,
Uwe
Uwe Boll himself is more entertaining than any of his movies.
Well, so is Tommy Wiseau
Yeah, true.
and
Uwe
Neil
Boll
Breen.
needs a movie made about him like Tommy Wiseau got. That would be so amazing. But I don't even know if it would be able to compare. That guy's nuts.
Well, okay, put it this way. So Uwe Boll challenged anyone that disliked his movies to a boxing match. So
Like a
any critic,
legit
yeah.
Vegas style boxing match, and he went through with
And he's
it.
a
And
very
he
angry man.
beat all their asses. One of them, he beat him up so bad. He was like a YouTuber because they all went in there talking shit because he's not young. And there's video of the guy outside the ring or outside the convention hall, like throwing up in the gutter because he got his ass kicked so bad. That's pretty
It
good.
gets
stuff.
weird quick. This is the world
I
of
mean-
bad movies. You have to watch
He's
your
an
ass.
Uwe Boll is
eccentric
German,
director.
so
Yeah, true.
And everything is fuck shit. and
he's like
it's
Klaus
stupid.
Kinski.
Avengers movies are just stupid. They're stupid fuck shit movies. They're not like my movies. They're high art. They have all the money, but they don't need the money. I don't need the money to make artistic films. But his movies are kind of shit.
Anyways, so basically, Jack Weston's full of himself. In this episode, he watches himself on TV as Shakespeare is confused about why he's watching himself on TV. At no point does like Shakespeare like question why there's a thing called a TV. He just kind of goes with it. There's a lot of things Shakespeare just kind of goes with in this episode that just if
Like
I
the
were a
fact that
man
he was
from
transported to the future, and he's just like,
yeah, if
I'm
I was
here.
I mean,
man
my
from
man's was like quoting his own plays. I mean,
yeah.
He
I
was
mean-
definitely
things to
enough
do.
self-aware to understand some of it.
That's why I said he must have been like he's done this before. Like this is nothing new. I mean, I
He's
don't
been
know.
schooled.
He's been old schooled.
That too.
He didn't change clothes the whole time he was there. So he
Well,
probably
no, he's got to show off them chicken legs.
And wasn't he there for like I felt as if he was there for like a while. Like some weeks maybe.
I
I
would
mean, at
assume.
least a week.
Oh, yeah, at least a
Yeah.
week. And he
Mhm.
was already, in those clothes, God knows how long before. Probably stank.
I mean, he
Little
probably
puffy
imagine how
shorts.
long they wore the same clothes back in that day, back in Shakespeare's day. I mean, I'm sure it's nothing new for him.
I mean, still like wash the clothes, even if it was the same like every so
Hmm.
often.
But then puffy shorts looks like pristine though. I'll give him that. Give me a pair of puffy shorts.
I feel like once again it's a stereotype of Shakespeare. I feel like Shakespeare didn't actually dress like that. I feel like that's a
He looked like Shakespeare in Love.
But we don't even know exactly what he looked
He
like.
probably-
There's like 15
You're probably
different
right. He
people.
probably wore a beret.
you're right.
Although honestly,
And
we
just a
don't know.
button-up
100
polo. It was like a baggy khaki.
A beret,
Yeah.
a polo, and some khakis. Yep.
Well, you know
was-
the kind that are like almost
He's a
like
beatnik.
baggy around the hip or whatever.
He wore
Yeah,
Like the
pleated
boots.
Jinko.
khakis.
Like the
Yeah, he actually wore
like
Jinko
early
jeans.
cinema.
Oh God.
Or what's those pants that like go halfway up the leg?
Oh,
Capris?
Grouchos?
Or
Is that what they
Groucho's
are? Like
capris.
the capris. Yeah, he wore
Mhm.
capris and a
Groucho's are a little higher.
Yeah.
oh,
Like
are they?
really long shorts.
Maybe he's a short kind of guy. Maybe like
Maybe like some Adidas shorts.
70s.
Yeah.
70s shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
80s.
What you see like Spielberg wearing.
I had those
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
I think there's a possibility of like if there wasn't TV censorship that Shakespeare could have like not worn the shorts.
I know.
And he'd
what
just
he
be
wore.
like he would just go like men in tights route.
He
You know what I
wore
mean?
something else more modern yet puffy. He wore hammer pants,
There you go.
parachute pants.
No, he wore
I'm
he
not
wore,
ashamed to
he wore
say I had
dad
some.
like mom or dad jeans.
Yeah, high waisted.
Also
Yeah.
possible.
The one thing-
Hammer pants when I was a kid.
Well, the one thing we could definitely agree with is he was free balling it. So
Of course.
Hey, if he's got
Yeah,
that much
I
room
wouldn't
to
be.
move around, I'd be free balling it too.
right.
Not that I have free balls, but if I did.
free testicles.
Yeah.
I feel like John Williams' performance of Shakespeare was what really stood out to me as being like really entertaining and memorable, at least from the episode.
It was. I mean, I mainly know him from his orchestral work, but I think he did really good. in this.
I mean, he was doing scores at the time. So I mean,
Yeah.
what's to say he didn't want to do like a Janusz Kaminski and be a director or an actor?
Or just punch someone, do an impersonation of Marlon Brando.
He really hated
Absolutely.
Marlon
Yeah.
Brando.
Yes, he did.
He couldn't punch the real thing, so he said, "I'll punch this guy who looks like him."
It would
I
have been
wonder
funny
if,
if you punched Moomer, but I understand.
I wonder if I wonder if Rod Serling was so pissed off at Marlon Brando, or he tried to get Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando like,
It will not be in your movie.
yeah, he's like, I'm too important, and I'm winning my first Oscar, but I'm gonna bring in a woman dressed as an Indian person up to or Native American. It's just like,
Said I will be in Superman.
Well,
yeah,
was it like in the episode he
Ja
was
Rule.
like at least like in the episode, the Rocky Road's character was saying that like he like as an actor or whatever in the
Oh, I
episode,
needed a
he was giving
tertiary.
like a tertiary interpretation
Yep.
of the character or something. To
What if I
Shakespeare.
choose not to go through the door? I do that every day.
You'd be like, what is the question? What are we doing here?
I do like the
That's what I
director's
was
face.
saying.
He's just like, let's just run through it. Well, yeah, we'll see what comes to us.
Oh yeah, what'd you guys think of what Mr. Hugo was saying about when they had all the, I don't know, I'm assuming execs or like the advertiser sponsor people. Like this was before the table read.
Oh, were they talking about we had turnips and not?
Yeah, they were
and
talking
not
about the
onions?
script about how it's like, oh, there's archaic language, but like we have something here. We'll
Well,
call it
I-
this one.
Well, and I think too, like that kind of harkens back to Judgment Night, where they couldn't have the British people drinking tea because one of their sponsors was like Folgers or something, so they had to say, "Oh, well, here's coffee for you." That's
Yeah, I
just
mean
so silly.
Yeah.
that's marketing in a nutshell. It's like,
Oh, I know.
yeah, no, it's like when you see the Mountain Dew Transformer or the Xbox Transformer and Transformers, it's like, you know,
Budweiser.
that was an ad exec that's like, hey, we're gonna put, you had to product placement your shit out of your fucking movie, or when they put an Audi or whatever in the main scene frame of a Godzilla cross Kong movie, it's just like, and that's
Watched that the other
the
day.
unfortunate. What's that?
I just watched that movie the other day.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't bad. It was. What were you expecting?
Yeah.
I was
That is what I
expecting something
expected.
better than what we got. No fucking
Tangent
not
number
fucking
7.
not using a small ape as a fucking battering ram or whatever the fuck he
Well,
did
why
with
not? That harkens back to previous
Yeah,
things.
Son of Kong.
Yeah. I will say
Yeah.
though, given like the time and place, advertising, not to say that there's obviously product placement now and it surpasses everything else. But back in the day, like the way that advertisers could kind of control the product on like a TV level was very interesting. Like I think that you do
Oh,
have
you
a certain
mean
level.
like when they did a game
Product placement.
when they did a game show and the game show host like during the commercial would go, here's a bottle of Geritol, this lifesaver of hair replacement or nonsense or whatever. Here's Maytag with this new lines of washer and dryers and fridge.
Right, or there literally
It's-
goes into product description in the middle of whatever the thing is. I mean, this
Yeah.
was, you were working directly with advertisers in the story itself, which had probably moved up to movies as time went on. But
They did it like in the
Well,
Truman Show where she's like talking about soap. She's like, "Honey, at the store today, I got this new Dawn soap. It's super fresh and very nice on the skin." Like, what goes on to
Yeah.
like ad read in the middle of it, and he's like, "Okay."
precisely, yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's a great example in Quiz Show when they go to commercial and y'all see Christopher McDonald just like turn to the screen. He's like I don't know, Marlboro cigarettes, the greatest smoke since I don't know, smoking a
The
pole or something like
softest
that.
taste.
Oasis.
Yeah, softest taste.
Softest.
It's I don't know. I mean, it's very very weird. It almost feels like that's what he's basically what he's making fun of, for better or worse, depending. Yeah, so
Even though he
I think
does
it's
those ad
showing that,
reads,
like-
he used to do them at the end of each episode.
I think it's just showing how greedy the entertainment industry could be. Because even Mr. Hugo being as patient and nice as he was to Julius in the beginning about more of his like cliche premises, for him to like try to get something greenlit as a writer, to then go into that like conference room and be like, oh yeah, like Julius is like, I wrote it down, it was like he was saying that he was a modern day chronicler of human foibles, and that even though he was a streetcar conductor before, he was a great conductor of human beings, and he's a prodigy of mine. He's a great writer or whatever, and it was like trying to like really sell him in a way that had this not happen, obviously, like he wouldn't necessarily, I mean, it's arguably advertising Julius in the same way that they'd be advertising a product, which I guess is interesting. Like even the interview aspect, I didn't realize that like they would have such a keen interest in the writers or the behind the scenes people for like TV and film and that sort. And maybe it was more sort of back in the day, but like I feel like now so much more of the spotlight in celebrity culture is more for like actors or those who are very much like I'm putting the spotlight on me and this is me. Like even to an extent with like content creators and influencers. It's really the ones who like even if they have a team of people, you don't always see them like in the spotlight in the same way as those who are like, oh yeah, I'm doing a one woman show kind of thing. But
Yeah. He's very that whole interview piece was an interesting. I don't even know how to describe it. I think you did it best.
I liked how
Yeah,
smug he
it's-
was though. Like I thought that was pretty funny. It was just like, yeah, that's me. I know what I remember what I said and I said it well. And he's
Well, it's
just
a-
like I don't know,
Smug
it's
son
like
of a
all
bitch.
to himself too. Which
What's
is great.
better than that though is when Will Shakespeare's like, oh, sometimes I get tired of writing, but then there's that little piece in my head that tells me to go, William, go.
Yeah, how he started like mocking him.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are so much more enthusiastic about this episode than I am.
Not saying I liked it. I thought it lacked in a lot of places, but I can acknowledge the pieces that did work.
I mean, at least we have talking points.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
for episodes like Horse Forward, we were like, can we go on a bunch of tangents? And then I guess we'll talk about it for a little
Yeah.
bit. And then, oh wow, oh my god, I forgot to tell you about this thing from yesterday before we started recording, and then we talked about it. But
Well, do you guys want to know where this hits for the Bard or for Paste and IMDb, or do you want to do that closer to ranking?
Sure.
I'm curious.
I think we
Well,
are close to the end.
Yeah. But we haven't done the ep or the outro
Oh
yet.
my god.
Oh no. We're go ahead, sure.
So Paste set it at 155. And Twilight Zone is known for putting toxic characters in their place through ironic cosmic justice. This is one rare episode where such a person that is not only presented as charming, but gets rewarded for duplicitous behaviors. Jack Weston mugs too frenzied to the camera as a TV writer who conjures William Shakespeare in order to steal his ideas. And then the other one has 156, the very
Damn.
bottom of the barrel. You've got
I agree with
headlines
all
on the
that.
reviews that go, this Ruffic, I must abjure. Not the most original idea, but well played. Jack Weston is pretty good, but so passe. Well, I thought it was funny. This one single-handedly killed the hour-long format. The most lamentable comedy and most cruel death of season 4. Annoying, boring, and unfunny. Where's my tertiary motivation?
I do agree that the hour-long comment, this did not need to be an hour long in the slightest.
No.
Nothing being an hour long. You could have gotten all the same sentiment across and been tighter and probably overall a better episode had it only been 24 minutes.
Right.
There's just not an hour's or 50 minutes worth of content here.
I would also add, I don't think that obviously like the first episode of the season and the last episode of any of these seasons is going to have a certain
Level of
weight put
scrutiny.
upon them. Right, exactly. More so than an episode that appears, halfway through the season. I don't think that this one would have been scrutinized quite as badly, had it been the first or the last of the season.
Yeah, I got you.
I think this episode just never should have existed.
I think this episode broke Nick.
I think it did too.
Like somehow,
Damn you,
I
Serling,
I'm
you broke our
somehow-
Nick.
It wasn't A Dream of Genie, and it wasn't Horace Ford or Trouble with Hamilton. It was just the
Which
Bard
one was
of all
Horace
people.
Ford? We just watched that and the name's real familiar. I feel like
The
did I
loop,
put that
the
one
one where
out?
it goes in the loop of him going into his childhood, like past childhood or whatever, and he has the rose tinted glasses.
Yeah. That one
Yeah.
wasn't great.
Yeah.
Wasn't
This is
good.
like when we talked
Also, I
about
didn't
last
like
week, or the recent episode. We brought up Nothing in the Dark, and Jacob asked like 2 minutes later, "What the hell is Nothing in the Dark again?" No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
Yeah,
I
probably
just
Let it out, Nick. Just let it out.
I
We'll give you
I
space.
just
Tell us how
I
you really
know
feel.
I
Did
know
you
I'm,
like it?
I wonder if I liked it or not. No, this is why I've let you guys talk more than me, because I want to allow people to get a much more positive outtake of something I really truly despise. And it's not, like I said, I watched this episode, and Triv can attest, because you guys are busy. Triv was nice enough sometimes to come on and watch these episodes with me, even though she's watched them. And
She have to hold your hand through it?
Triv, what was my response while I was watching this episode? Like,
Oh, but you were at the best of times. You were basically fuck this shit.
yeah,
Blow it up, explode it right now.
run it into the ground, bury it like ET. I'm sitting here watching this episode, and I'm going, what have I done with my life? I know we have like 36 more episodes to go, and we still have like, Black Leather Jackets and Bewitching Pool, but I like between the music, which was, I don't even want to understand what's going on there, to the character arcs, to Rod Serling trying to and taking down the entertainment industry. He does a better job of doing that in other episodes, and I feel like we wasted our time with Jack Weston. I feel bad. Honestly, this is no joke. I feel bad for Jack Weston. I think he really puts a lot of effort into trying to create a character that is not only despicable, but is, it's just not good at what he does. And this is kind of a cheat for him. But he just comes off as goofy and haphazardly put together in one note. And it's the same thing with John Williams. I know, Alex, you liked John Williams in this, but I thought he was like a punching bag. I thought he was something you see in like This Is Spinal Tap, or I don't know, something out of Mel Brooks's movies or something like that. Burt Reynolds. There's something that Rod Serling didn't like about Marlon Brando, but the fact that Burt Reynolds just is literally Marlon Brando bothers me. So you couldn't come up with a more interesting character. It's just nothing about this episode. Even the ending, which once William Shakespeare goes off in a huff, he's like, "Oh, I'll just conjure up Robert E. Lee, Ulysses S. Grant, Abraham Lincoln, Pocahontas." Like, what? I was like, I don't know.
He needed a posse to be able to write about American history.
Why is he writing about American history? He can barely do what he did to begin with. It's just
because
this
it's
feels
the
like
next great thing that he's up. He's trying to succeed where he otherwise failed, and
then
something like that.
Bill and he's like, I almost feel like this is like a reverse Bill and Ted. Like he's ripping off Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted didn't come like 20 years later.
See, he went to the future, saw what Bill and Ted were doing, went back to the past, and then did the thing.
I guess. I don't know. Once again, I know this won't be at the bottom of the list because I'm probably in my own camp in this one, but yeah, this is nothing about this episode. This episode's bad.
Honestly, I came in about where you were, Nick, and talking or listening to Jake and Alex has opened my mind a little bit to what's been said. So I wouldn't put this is not an upper level, like above 80 for me, but it's certainly what they've said has opened up stuff, since I don't think it's bottom of the barrel, but it's like around the last ring.
Well, I'm glad they opened up something
I have
for
succeeded.
you,
Semi-succeeded.
You exceeded at least two-thirds of the podcast, or three-thirds of the three-fourths of the podcast.
But I think that you also make good points too, Nick. It is looking at it on the surface, if you watch it and just the once through without the conversation, I can 100% see where you're coming from. I was there a lot myself. It didn't drag, but it's not a one that I ever need to watch in any way, shape, or form ever again, because it just it didn't do anything for me. It was not boring, but it took too long for me. It took too long to get to the things that Rod Serling said that he was trying to address. It felt like they were trying to do kind of a reverse of what was done at the end of season 1, where you're talking about the writer's process and such. But yeah, it just didn't do what it set out to do in a lot of cases for me. It felt kind of discombobulated. It was all over the board. And what, like Jake said, it didn't really know what it was supposed to be.
Exactly.
Closing narration know what it wants to be.
Yes.
Well, actually, before we do that, did you guys have anything else you wanted to say on the episode?
He needs to go suck on a lizard for a week.
Closing narration to son of a bitch.
Let's close this bitch out.
That's what she said too.
Mr. Julius Moomer, a streetcar conductor with delusions of authorship. And if the tale just told seems a little tall, remember a thing called poetic license and another thing called the Twilight Zone.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that is one thing too.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
by name, Julius Moomer just sounds like someone that he does not like. It's such a just I don't know. It just comes off as such
He
a
called
kind of
it. He called his Marlon Brando character Rocky Roads. Like, was he eating ice cream? He's like, "Hey, Marlon
Rocky
Brando's gonna be
Road?
fat one day, so let's make him an ice cream flavor." It's just like, I'm sorry, people.
I'm not sure I believe the
Oh.
tears. You are as
I
good
have
of an
tears.
actor
I have
as
tears because my eyes are like watering from my allergies. Damn it, Jacob. Allergies are killing me right now. Might have to go take some honey or some shit.
Take a lot of it.
Right.
Take it. Take that sweet goodness. Take all that sweet
Oh my
goodness
God.
inside you. Just
My
put it inside you
God.
daily.
Oh my god,
Like a
terrible.
spoonful. Gonna make you feel good.
Actually, John McGiver is going to be in one of Richard Donner's episodes next season.
Ooh.
John McGiver played Mr. Shannon.
Can we do like dramatic reactions to everything we say?
Yeah,
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Are you the sexy Kool-Aid man? Yeah.
Ooh, Kool-Aid. It's refreshing. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. You know,
Oh yeah.
you could do like trailer reactions and just pull out the stupid sexy voice.
Yeah.
In a world where Nick fell off a cliff because he hit it
In a
an episode
land
the
of
Twilight Zone.
pharaohs.
Okay, Don LaFontaine.
How do you just have random CDs to pull out like that?
Oh, I've got like 2,000 movies surrounding me right now that
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
transferring over to digital for my Plex server. 2 or 3,000, I'm not sure. It's 2,000 something. We're fucking
His mom collected DVD or movies like nobody's business.
Yeah, she just had a lot. And now I have them, and I don't need that many DVDs and Blu-rays. So I'm transferring them over to a Plex server, and then I'm going to sell them as a lot or different lots on eBay or somewhere. If someone knows somewhere I can easily offload a few thousand DVDs and get a little bit of scratch for it, let me know.
Let's say the library, you'll take them.
The library?
Yeah.
They'll take them. They're not going to buy them from
Oh,
you.
okay. I mean, with that many, I'm like,
You
I
said
could make a
offload,
few
right?
bucks off of it. Yeah, for some money.
Oh.
I'd like to
You
make a
didn't
little
say-
bit.
Oh, I guess you did say
I mean, another
scratch.
DVDs. I'm not going to make like tons of money, but I'm going to a convention next month, so hoping I can like get them all transferred and take some of those proceeds to the convention with me.
You'd be surprised. DVDs are still, they're like VHS tapes.
There's like
Some of them
half-price
are
books,
like out of
like
print,
that franchise.
like Dogma and stuff like that.
With that said, that is the season finale of season 4, which is the Bard. Yeah, it's an episode. So, anyways, without further ado, let's go on to the last segment, which is the Twilight Zone ranking list, the greatest ranking list ever known by William Shakespeare to be or not to be, depending on how we feel about the episode. Once again, you guys know where I'm going to start. 120. So you guys go from there.
Jesus. Okay.
You say
Hang on, I need to-
120?
Mm,
Yeah,
Why
we're
are
on
there
episode
7
120.
chat messages. Oh, from where you couldn't hear or we couldn't hear you. Yes.
No, I just said I said it twice. Yeah.
I mean,
114.
114. That
oh,
far
why
down?
am I looking
Actually,
so
no,
high?
no. This is better than the Incredible World of Horrors Ford, but
Is
not
it
by
better
much.
than Jizzy Bells?
Mm,
Don't do that to me. That's not well. Jezebel probably isn't as low as it should be, but
You really think this is better than the Incredible World of Horrors Ford?
yes. Yes.
Which one is that
You guys
again?
really didn't
Really?
like that episode.
I really
114.
totally forgot. Wait, he repeats.
You
something?
literally forget
I literally-
everything.
you just said it a minute
So
ago.
he was a toy maker, or he's a toy maker guy that kept
Oh, yeah, I remember.
reliving Crest episodes and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
with,
See, I just want that episode out of my head. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
like that episode. This is better than that. I'm not saying this is great, but it's better than that horse whatever guy who got his ass kicked by a bunch of other kids.
I was
should've
thinking
laughed
it could be above Jezebel at the highest.
See, I think if we're talking, okay, so if we're talking comedy episodes, Mr. Dingle the Strong is at 108. I would say that this is not as good as Mr. Dingle.
Mm.
That is my personal opinion, though.
Is that because Mr. Dingle the Strong was only 30 minutes? Do you think that's why it was?
I preferred it. I thought it was
Probably.
relatively funny, actually.
I mean, it was cute. If it had been an hour-long episode, that would have been grating, though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think this
This
one probably
wasn't
would have fallen in that neighborhood of just kind of like that was fine if it was only 30 minutes.
See, I'm not even sure. I think it would have depended on how it was cut more than anything else. But that's a
Of
moot
course,
point,
yeah.
really.
I feel like for being a comedic episode, though, I feel like the execution of this episode definitely could have been worse.
Yeah.
But, I I just don't think it's like as bad as some people put it as like being the worst episode. Like truly we've talked about this before on the podcast where it's like for episodes that we may or may not like, for me, my sort of like how I try to decide like where I fall in place with the episodes and how I like them is just with rewatchability. And I feel
Mhm.
like out of the episodes we got from season 4 and out of the episodes that are also comedic, I do feel like especially with how season 4 was, I would say even for being non as sort of dramatic, so to say, or very like serious or intense, which I feel like a lot of the episodes in season 4 were. I would rewatch this episode out of a few of the episodes, like Horace Ford or Jezebel or I Dream of Jeannie, easily.
I'd like to point out that there is an opening at spot 39.
No.
You would put it in episode.
I'm just
Fuck
saying, I'm
no.
just putting it out there. I'm just putting it out there. I want to make sure everyone was aware of that. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that's
But
where it
you
should
are
go.
kind of saying things.
I just wanted to point that fact out. Let everybody know there's a spot available at 39. But
There's also a spot available at 41.
Exactly.
41.
I could concede to that.
There is, but I don't feel as if the availability at 41 is as readily available as 39. 39, it's almost like it's
It's not as readily
at me.
available as the spot in your cockles.
Yeah, that's for sure.
39 spot 39 is definitely tickling my cockles.
You may want to get that
Warming.
looked at if it continues to like tingle.
A cockle tickle?
I hope we
Yeah.
include like them describing the definition, Nick. Just to clarify.
Cockle tickles. I mean,
Cockle tickles sounds like a type of porn. That's all I'm going to say.
It just sounds more suggestive than
A
it
cockles
is.
in the house.
See, I would watch a piano in the house
You'd watch a what?
Oh,
over
yeah.
this episode. But I'm just saying, I think this episode gets a lot more shit than I feel like it I just think this episode has some highlights to it that I feel aren't as appreciated because of the larger like overall episode. I very much agree that it is not a great episode by any means when we look at the larger scope of the Twilight Zone and what it was capable of doing, especially in this time period of like the late 50s, early 60s of television. I mean, it definitely was like entertaining in some capacity and gave some commentary, not in the same way that it would through its more sort of like sentimental or like serious themes and messages like other episodes. But I feel like it did its job for what it is. And I feel like depending on kind of where you fall in line with whether you like the Twilight Zone always being serious or if you like those more lighthearted comedic approaches that the Twilight Zone takes every so often. I feel like these episodes are definitely the ones that are on the comedic side are definitely more hit or miss and I feel are more subjective for sure. But I do feel like this one definitely has its strengths that I hope, at least for me talking about it, at least like offers some kind of like, okay, I understand where that comes from, but I also
I mean, I
Which one was
agree with you.
Cavender's
So
coming?
Cavender's Coming was the
Carol Burnett.
teacher who
Oh,
almost
Terrible.
unalived
No, yeah.
themselves.
The teacher that what?
Like he almost like committed suicide.
No,
Thought we put
Cavender's
that-
Coming.
No, that was higher than this.
Yeah, Cavender's Coming is the one where Carol Burnett, she's like it's like the
Oh.
female version of
What's the episode I'm thinking of then?
what
I
Oh,
remember what
Changing in
you're
the Guard,
talking
never mind.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Whoops.
I
was
think-
looking at the wrong spot.
That's okay.
I think I would put this at 104 for me.
But
personally.
yeah, I mean, everything Alex said is true. That's why we got to put it at 120.
I mean, would you
I don't think that I'm on board with what Alex said, and that's what I thought from the jump. I don't think this is the
I
worst
mean,
episode
would you
ever,
say that
but it has
would you
issues.
watch Jezebel again and compare, like if you were to watch either
Yes, I'd
Jezebel
watch it
or The
over
Bard
this.
again?
I'd watch Jezebel over this. I will say that much. I didn't hate
Mhm.
Jezebel as much as
And
everybody
that one
else.
Why you making
also
us-
that one
Hey,
also
why
Why
you
had
making
some
me make a
kind of
Sophie's
like
choice?
magic.
I would watch Jezebel over this one, but they're quality wise very close. It's not like I'd be like, yes, Jezebel. I'd probably have to think about it for a minute. But Jezebel had what I
Mhm.
liked about Jezebel is the characters and the presentation of them, and how they were like that West Virginia like stereotypes and kind of
Mhm.
like bunking.
Waltons.
That was entertaining. They're like, Jethro, you want to marry Jezebel and all that. That at least made it somewhat entertaining. This one didn't really have. This one just had, baby, come on, baby, yeah, I'm
And this
Toy
one had-
Savalas, baby.
This one had actually quite a bit of like there was a lot of sort of funny dialogue, like kind of quippy.
There was.
I think you guys mentioned that.
Mhm.
Cockles,
Yeah, exactly, cockles.
lizard licking. Yeah,
I
lizard
do-
licking cockle.
Oh shit.
Take a
Okay.
walk in a red light, oncoming traffic.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to be one that has fun with like the funny episodes that the Twilight Zone puts out. Like and I guess first season is obviously the best kind of indicator of that. You've got Most Unusual Camera, you've got not that it's first season, but
That's season 2, isn't it?
I
mean,
Maybe.
the funniest episode I watched in the first season, or was it the second season or first season, was The Invaders. It was hilarious.
it had moments. But
I don't know if you'd call that comedic, Nick, but
I know,
okay.
I'm yeah,
I
I'm
mean, it
just
was
joking.
funny in a
He
dark
likes talking
way.
shit about the number 1 episode that we have because it's my favorite.
You weren't even sure until we watched it, though.
No, I knew the episode. I just didn't know the name. I thought it was
right.
the Lonely.
Only.
I mean, come on, you could see that
Oh
being the
my
name
God.
of it. That's why I came on for the Lonely. I thought it was the Invaders.
Yeah.
Just
And
based
thus
on the name.
began the quixotic journey of Jacob in the Twilight Zone.
Quixotic.
Quixotic, yeah. That's my big word for the day. All right, so where are we thinking? We've got one at 104. We've got Nick with 120. Alex, where were you?
I was
Below a piano in the house?
yeah,
above?
somewhere in there. But like I can see it even being like, I don't know. I mean, initially I was going to say like, I don't know, like 98, but I
Ooh,
could
you're trying
see
to
it
appeal to
being
Triv
like-
being above Lonely.
Okay,
Walter Jameson.
okay. I was gonna say it could also be like 101. Because I don't know. I personally would watch this episode over Jezebel personally.
But I
Like
like the
how
Mary
Nick
Casey.
feels about the Bard was, from what I remember, was how I felt about Jezebel. Where I
Yeah.
was like, I was kind of over it.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't really.
If we're
have
sticking
any
in that,
investment
Right,
into
you
it.
were like that with Clifford Bell. That's where you were.
I
you were
also
like,
was
I
out
wanna
like that is true.
get we were at that
That is
88
true,
for some
but
reason.
that
Yeah.
one wasn't funny. That was just sad.
yeah. So given where you're talking about there, because 104, 102-ish, 101-ish, like of those, for me personally, I would watch the Mighty Casey over this anytime. I would
Yeah, me
probably
too.
watch
Yeah, fair
Cavender
enough.
over this as anytime as well, just because I
Mhm.
it had moments. I'm not going to deny it, but I don't know. Like it was more frustrating to watch than anything else. Oh,
Which one?
This one as an
Oh.
overall package.
I thought you meant Cavender's
Mhm.
dying or coming or whatever. I thought that was because Carol Burnett is so funny, but in that she was just kind of
Oh no, I agree.
wasn't quite there. That
yeah,
first
In a
no.
similar situation with both of them, where it's like they have great talent, but it's just like
So
what
you'd
the episode
watch-
offers is pretty lacking.
So you'd watch
Definitely
this
better than
episode with a
Dust.
16 millimeter shrine?
Well, if we're sticking where these two were kind of talking, I mean, for me, offhandedly, I would put this at 109, 1010 because or 1010.
1010?
For God's sake.
Like 110. 110 it is.
Because Dingle, like I really enjoyed Dingle the
Dingle.
Strong. Dingle.
That's
He'd
fair.
be dingling all over the place.
I
I
like
would,
Dingle the Strong
I
and
would
Mighty
watch
Casey.
Mr. Dingle and the Titty Aliens more than this episode. I would put this like in the right above Incredible World of Horse 4, right below Four of Us Are Dying.
See, that's better than what we got him to go up, guys.
Yay.
Give me
See,
a mod.
I would be okay with that.
Oh, I'm sorry,
honestly.
120.
No, no,
120.
go back.
This is not worse than
back.
The Trouble with Templeton. You are not. You're going to be hard pressed to show me something that's worse than The Trouble with Templeton. Fuck that
We
episode.
haven't gotten to Bewitching Pool yet.
True.
Trouble with
True.
Templeton's ridiculous. So I'd love to know where it sits on Paste and IMDb. They're
Hang
probably
on.
number
I mean, it's
3.
better than the Bard.
I mean,
obviously.
Hang on.
we
hang
have
on.
our lovely source here.
And Static. That was just that's cinematic
I'm just
ambient.
mad because the static was when I came back from moving for my 80th time, and
The Jungle was just stupid. 4 o'clock was. You guys hated that more than I did. I didn't like that one, but it was. You guys like hated it, like were offended by it.
it was offensive.
That guy
This
was just kind of
episode.
a prick. The Gift. That's the one with like Mexican Jesus, I think. Mexican alien Jesus.
Yeah.
That would suck too.
Mexican Jesus.
Why am I not finding this?
Probably a
Hang on.
reason you're not finding it.
Yeah.
So's your face.
They said it's like number 2000.
Yeah.
Oh,
In the year 2000.
I'm trying to think of season 5 episodes that like could potentially be on the bottom.
Why can I not find this gosh darn episode, eh?
Black Leather
Alright.
Jackets could be a contender for being on the bottom. Oh, Queen of the Nile. I'm not sure if you guys will like that one. Yeah, I don't think The Bewitching Pool is a great. If you thought this wasn't a great finale for season 4, just buckle up for The Bewitching Pool for season 5.
At least it's only 24
No.
minutes.
Well, okay, but we can't always use that. We can't use that argument now that we're going into season 5, though. That's the thing.
I mean, we can now because we know what hour-long ones are
Oh
like.
my
So
God.
at least it's
True.
only 24 minutes. That could be a positive in a bad situation.
You got a point. I'm going off of pace, but it says Sounds and Silences. That's also season 5. I don't even remember that episode.
Yeah, that's the one
So
with
I think that could be
John McGiver's in that one.
Why can I not find? Okay, so Trouble with Templeton is 107 for IMDb,
Dang.
and Paste was
I mean, honestly, Pace has quite like a handful. I mean, it has over a handful of episodes that are already like 130 or lower.
yeah.
I'm spotting, which is
103
so
is
fun.
103 is the Trouble with Templeton on Paste. So got 107 and 103.
They're stupid.
Oh, a short drink from a certain fountain. I think could be on the bottom too. Yeah, there's quite a lot of there's quite a few season 5 episodes that are under 100 here. So it'll be
I'd rather watch The
exciting.
Legend of Lizzie Borden.
What is that? Oh.
I think I saw
Like, what the
saw
fuck?
that one. It's like kind of a lesbian thing.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
No, never mind. This would have
is
been
like from the
done.
70s, I think.
Yeah, this one would have been from the like 2015 or something. But
No, it says 2014. No way. This is not 2000. That's probably when this re-release came out. I can look at these pictures until they're not from 2014.
let's see the cover.
Unless it's all Grindhouse.
No, it's definitely not Grindhouse.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's a re-release.
yeah. Hang on. I've got that. No, I don't have it on. I haven't loaded it up yet.
Load it up. Load it up. So what's it gonna be, guys? Yes or no?
So
Yes,
what-
120. I agree.
I think right above Horace Ford is a nice place for it.
Right above Horace Ford. Horace, of course.
So that'd be like the new 110
111.
or 111. Yeah,
But
Would've gone a
I
little
mean,
higher, but
that works.
you know what? We
Mhm.
make concessions for things at times. And then
It
we
won't
come
be
back
Yeah,
later on and go,
yeah.
why is that one so low? Or why is this one so high? Like for Chance to Dream. What the fuck is this doing up here?
All I have to say is that there are some season 5 episodes that are gonna be bottom of the barrel.
So see,
Yeah,
I've gone
wait.
all these year or all this time hearing about how terrible season 4 was. I get there and it wasn't that bad. Now I'm hearing nothing about how season 5 is going to be bad.
I don't think season
No,
5 is
it's-
bad
Season
at
5
all.
Not all of
isn't
it's
bad.
bad.
It's just not honestly, it's just not as strong as like the episodes. Like there's solid episodes in season 5 for sure. And there also have been a few solid episodes in season 4. But something that is said in Zakri's book that like I guess I do agree with, especially on rewatch, is that it's just the latter 2 seasons are just lacking overall in a way that unfortunately like seasons 1 to 3 set a precedent for. And so because of that, I think that's why people kind of look
See,
at it that way.
I disagree thus far. I feel like season 3 was the lesser of all the seasons thus far. It had good stuff, but when I think of season 3, I just think mediocre. I'll say
That's how I
season
think
3
of
had
season
less.
5 overall.
I think
Personally.
season 3 didn't have a ton of. It did have some bad ones, but it had less
Mhm.
bad ones, and it had some really good ones. But they were all like in the middle. Like there's a ton of them that are just kind of They're whatever. They're not bad, but they're not good. They're just mediocre. They're like they exist. They exist to be in the middle of the bunch.
I feel like I think at least for me, it's like I would take something that's mediocre, but I would watch again at the very least if I were to like rewatch the entire series over watching episodes that I just don't that have no memorability or even sort of any sort of I guess appeal to them that like I wouldn't want to watch again. Which is kind
That's
of
what
how I
season 3
felt for
was.
like
It didn't have a
maybe I
lot of
just need to
memorability.
maybe I need to look back on what's on season 3.
I
I
don't know
lived
if
It's
I
like,
agree. It doesn't
I
have
think it just be
whatever you
There
call
were
it.
some that were memorable. It had some fantastic episodes in it, but I just
yeah.
feel like there was a lot of mediocre
Well,
episodes not
the
memorable at
problem
all.
is there's like
Yeah.
stretches where there's like not great episodes, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Maybe
mean,
that's what it
I've-
was. They're back to
I
back to back
think-
like that.
I think part of it too is like when I watched it, I was binging the entire series. Like I was watching it in bunches and trying to like highlight certain ones that stood out. Almost like I've seen it before with like people who react to like music artists for albums. So they'll take a track list and then they'll highlight or put a pin on it like when they like pretty much listen through the entire thing. And so that's how like I find music from an album that I like, or if I like I'm like, oh, I love the entire album more. There's some where it's like, oh, I mean, there was a couple songs I like rewatch or like listen to again, but otherwise it's like I won't really like revisit some of the other songs. But I think maybe that's part of like why I have the perspective that I have, because it's like I haven't really touched a fair share of these episodes since like I watched the entire series for the first time.
That's fair.
So
And as we always
maybe
talk
I
about,
should rewatch the entire series again. I don't know.
well, and I think
That's
too,
a lot of work.
conversation. Yeah, in conversation. I mean, how many episodes have we changed positions on because we've watched discussed them as a group? You get the perspectives of other people, and that does change the
Mhm.
way you feel about stuff.
Tell you one that didn't change.
Yeah.
How many times do I have
we
to
don't need
apologize for
say
that
the
shit?
title again.
I do
Never
wonder where that would
apologize,
have
Joe.
ended had I been there. Had I been there to save
Probably
that
number one.
episode.
This man cannot like let the past go.
Can't. That one's
That's
always
everything
there.
like
Let the
that.
past go.
You are
Kill it if you have
always
to,
on
Jacob.
my
Go.
mind. You are always on my mind.
I'm still
As
flabbergasted.
Alex says
that
in
it
her
was the
favorite Star Wars
highest episode.
movie, kill the past if you have to. Let the past
What
go. Kill it
movie?
if you have to. All right. So with that said, I think we'll place it there. New number 111 is the Bard. Fortunately, it's not 120 like I wanted, but I have to make concessions for a podcast that I started. And no, I'm just kidding.
I started it too. I got it
No.
down till
Not
near
you
the
erasing
10
the woman
spaces,
in
so
this
piss
picture.
off. That's right. Not only am I a woman, I'm a freaking avatar, bitch.
Why
Mm,
didn't I see you in James Cameron's movie then?
Nick's gonna get
Because I'm
canceled.
not that cool.
Oh, you get canceled, yeah. We cancel off this podcast. Anyways, new number one, or not new number one. Number one is still Eye of the Beholder. Number 120. Yes, we're at 120 is The Trouble with Templeton. Next week.
And
We'll
wait,
not be-
you missed one. You
Wait,
missed
wait,
one,
wait,
Nick.
wait,
You
wait,
missed
wait.
one.
I missed it. Where the hell is
Where's
it?
the mute button?
Stop
Stop recording.
God, okay.
It's at
Number
97.
97 is a piano in.
The house.
I felt that one. I felt that one in my cockles.
See, at least in this podcast, if you're listening or watching, you can always learn something. In
Like
your
cockles.
day, I hope.
Well,
Or you can
Jacob
just hear
has
people ramble
Jacob
about
has
the Twilight
aneurysms
Zone
when he
for
says
however
that.
long.
Jacob's having aneurysms. Um,
He's got a long pole and he knows how to use it.
right.
Ooh.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, next week will of course not be the beginning of season 5. Will of course be our wrap up of season 4, as we do every season. We'll talk about it.
Hooray.
You want to talk about it, Jacob? You want to talk about it?
You want to talk about it? You
Yeah.
want? I got Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker first season. You want to talk about it? We can talk about it.
No.
We could talk about Boom.
Let's talk about
Anyways,
sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
Let's talk about.
So, yeah, so anyways, next week we'll be talking about the wrap up of season 4, like I said, as we did in the last 3 seasons. So look forward to that. Alex, Jacob, Triv, thank you for coming on as always to talk about this wonderful episode of The Bard, the last episode of the season. It was fun, I guess.
So are we talking about base rapping next week?
No, we're going to talk
Yes.
about base raping.
They're referring to a story I talked
We're
about.
gonna
off
rape all the
camera.
bases.
Yeah, that we're not.
Yeah. Let's just say,
but-
be careful what you make your email address.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
We can talk
it
about
just might
graping.
make a bunch of people laugh.
we're not gonna talk about graping either. That's
We're gonna
disgusting.
grape them. We're gonna grape them in the mouth.
Ew.
Anyways,
Come here. I'm gonna grape you in the
Triv,
mouth.
Triv, I'm gonna start with you
Yes.
this week. You have content. You're on a regular basis now.
Am
It's
I?
amazing.
Oh
yeah,
my
you
God.
put out videos every week now. It's pretty awesome.
For the moment, but that's probably going to change soon. Yeah.
Triv, don't
you
give
can-
us up hope. Where's that at?
You can find me here on YouTube at Trivial Theater. The past 2 videos I did were things I saw at Film Fest that don't necessarily belong on my channel. They're both pretty good. Highly suggest checking the reviews, but more so checking out the movies when they drop, which will probably be a bit. Next up is I'm doing a kind of a thing to honor Roger Corman since he died here recently. I'm doing kind of a retrospective on The Pit and the Pendulum, which is one of the first movies of his that I saw and got me into a bunch of stuff and ended me up where I am now as an avatar sitting by a cup of Uranus. Not sure what that says. Anyway,
Nice.
stop by, say hi. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Roger Corman, rest in peace. Alex, you still have content on your channel. We're waiting for a new video, but it'll come
I
eventually.
know.
In
When
your
that
Talk
time.
video
about that
comes, where's
after
it
the
gonna be at?
recording. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Alex Carson, and then you can see me pop up here whenever they want to conjure me up.
That's
Here
right.
on
we have that Black
Movie
Magic
Emporium
book
YouTube
and-
channel for
Yes.
this
Yeah.
podcast in particular. So
When the cockles of our heart need warming, you're the first person we call.
yeah, I only have
Exactly.
2 realms of the internet where I'm on at this point, outside of LinkedIn, I guess, because adulting. So such as
Hey, you're doing more than I do. I don't even have a LinkedIn, so
yeah.
rare.
It's
Rare for
okay.
not.
If you don't need it, you don't need it.
I have a link.
All right.
It's got me in a
Wow.
suit on there going.
I can't see you in a suit.
You can on LinkedIn.
All right.
What's Triv doing right now? Checking out Jacob on LinkedIn. I don't think it's what you think it is, Triv. No, I'm kidding. Jacob,
LinkedIn.
content. You have content. You put out your, non was it what's that word called when you look up stuff?
Non-researched?
Non-researched video that
Yeah.
people claim you don't do.
Yeah.
What's that video and where's it at?
Yeah, there's some of those videos. I got those. Yeah. You can check me out on YouTube and at RetroJKXY, where I do retro video game content and collection content and stuff. I got documentaries up there I've made. Check those out. No research whatsoever, of course. And I also recently released another My Collection video where I go through a portion of my collection, and I just shot another one that we'll be releasing that's probably going to end up being 2 videos. And those will come out over the course of the next few weeks. And I'm going to another convention at the beginning of next month in South Carolina. And I'll probably do some video of that and put a video out about that. And then I'll have another documentary coming at some point after that I'm starting up right now. I got to take a break in between those things. They're exhausting.
No breaks, Jacob. You have to do it forever. Forever.
If you want to be successful on YouTube, I guess you do, but I don't really care about that.
I mean, you could be like MatPat or, Linus Tech Tips and do a video every day.
I did
Gross.
that on my old channel. Screw that. That sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Linus Tech Tip has like a crew of like 1,000 people working for him. So
Yeah, I got a crew of me.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But anyways, yeah, look forward to all their content. It's wonderful. It smashes the like buttons and subscribes, and it does everything a YouTube channel should do, except for get views, because we all apparently can't get views.
Rapes
on
the
our channel.
subscribe button.
Oh God.
It's the email of YouTube, I don't know. With that said, I have some content coming. I think I have the Netflix movie Hitman I'm going to do a review of by the time this video posts. Another episode of Dark Matter, this video, some other stuff. I got sent the boys early, so I'm going to watch that and do a review of that. That's all I can think of. Like, I'm going to have more content I'm used to having, so look forward to that, all that good stuff.
Yay.
So yeah.
Are you going to see Mad Max or Furiosa?
Yeah, I'm seeing it on Thursday.
Woohoo.
I could have seen it last night, but
out so soon.
Yeah.
Mad Max, yeah, for
Yeah.
Memorial Day. They had a screening last night on Monday, but unfortunately, I don't have a car, so there's no seeing Mad Max. I want to see Mad Max. Yeah, so there you go. Anyways, with that said, we're wrapping up season 14 or whatever season this is. We're gonna head out into the Twilight Zone, and for myself, Jacob, Triv, and Alex, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
Don't forget to warm your cockles.
Listen, it's not. Come on. It's gotta be better than Templeton. It's gotta be. It's gotta Shakespeare.
We're the princes of the universe. Winner.